You're going to love this interview. Just got done editing it. I'm glad I got it live for you. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes hanging out, answering any questions you have. In fact, leave a comment below about data points or what you think is going to happen to the company, and I will respond to every comment. Additionally, if you're just loving the content, click the thumbs up and I will go and check out your profile as well and give your videos some love as well. In the meantime, enjoy the interview. Hello, everyone. My guest today is Pablo Estevez. He's the founder and CEO of Gus, an AI company that helps companies improve their customer experience with AI and virtual agents. All right, Pablo, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, man.
All right. So how is this different than call it Intercom, Drift, these other kind of chat tools?
Definitely. I mean, well, on the first hand is Intercom, Drift, and these platforms. What they're really, in the case of Intercom, they're kind of more focused on how your agents respond to messages, and they still have a lot of a human-powered drive. Really, what we do with Gus, we focus way more on how your consumers speak. Obviously, we automate, so we don't have the human element. So we focus more on how your consumers speak, how they consume from your brand, and we use all these data points that we collect, and in real time, we actually create a different customer experience for each person. So if you chat with someone on an intercom, like the person on the other end is going to treat you personally, but they're not going to be able to be quick enough to know, like, hey, this type of consumer that's bought this amount of products, we should upsell them on this particular functionality. Whereas our algorithm actually works in real time, they can do that for you. So that's particularly to do with Intercom. And then with Drift, we're a way more enterprise solution. So we actually work with a brand, we do all the user experience consulting, and then we create an enterprise solution that's implemented. It's way more robust versus Drift, which is just kind of like a few questions, which works very well for medium-sized brands, but we work exclusively with enterprise.
Okay, so like, what's your sweet spot in terms of pricing? Like, our brands paying $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $1 million a year. What's your sweet spot?
Between $10,000 to $20,000 a month.
Okay, so so you came on the show about a year and a half ago, and your ARPU back then was about $1,100 a month. You're now up almost to $10,000 a month on average.
Yeah.
Did you churn
among enterprise customers?
Well, I mean, obviously, enterprise is higher price point, but if you look at your full customer base, what's the average customer paying across your entire base?
The thing is, I don't focus on my average particularly because we're trying to turn a lot of our customers. So the ones that were paying $10,000-$15,000, we essentially started losing a lot of those. We still have some consumers paying $1,500. Just take into account our general average would be $7,500 a month.
Okay, $7,500 a month. And last time you were on, you said you had about 35 customers. How many today?
Yeah, we have around 45 customers. They're just bigger customers.
Yeah, no, that's good. So, I mean, has revenue reflected that growth? You were doing about $40,000 a month a year and a half ago. Now you're doing what, 250, 300,000?
No, we're doing around between 100 and 120.
Okay, 100 is still healthy growth. So call it $100,000 a month in revenue. Where has most of the growth come from? Adding those new customers or expanding historical ones?
Expanding historical ones is most of the growth. We've actually been focused a lot on getting our acquisition economics very robust, because we're raising a round now. We're launching the round next week, and with the money we're injecting, we actually want to grow our marketing team. So kind of the last year has been like, look, let's grow our existing customer base. Let's create good case studies. Let's get our sales team kind of running on all fours. And the idea for next year is to really put money into the operation.
How much have you raised to date?
Today, 1.5 million.
Okay, 1.5. Now, you said 1.2 about a year and a half ago. So did you raise a $300,000 bridge or something?
Yeah, particularly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Who'd you raise the bridge from? Was it debt or equity?
No, it was a convertible note, family and friends.
Okay.
It was just kind of a quick run. We're like, look, we're going to grow and launch. We're going to launch a Series A, which is $5 million that we're launching next week. And it was just kind of a round to be like, look, let's keep ourselves afloat. For that Tuesday. So
you want to target 5 million on this next raise. You're a convincing guy. You're a good looking guy. You probably get what you want. What valuation do you hope to get?
We're hoping to push for $20 million post money.
Okay.
And we're going to really see how the market feels with that valuation.
Got it. So you'll sell 25% of the company.
Roughly.
Yeah. Do you have to do that? I mean, it's a lot of dilution. Do you really need $5 million to drive growth?
That's a great question, man. I mean, we're obviously looking at alternatives. We're looking at financing as well. We found an interesting company, which I won't disclose the name of just because I haven't run it through them. But they're quite interesting in financing a lot of contracts. So we have more than $1 million in contracts, and they're like, look, for that $1 million in contract, if you give us a 20%, we'll give you an additional $1 million of direct financing. And it's not an equity round, so that could be interesting. But in general, look, we want to push to grow. We understand that our business right now is very healthy. And if we hit the growth targets that we think we conservatively could hit, our next round would be a very big round. We expect to reach $7 to $10 million on annual recurring revenue with this round. So we also have promising upside.
And when do you think you'll hit when do you think you'll hit $7 million run rate?
2021.
Okay, so assuming you raise $5 million on like a 15 pre in the next, call it 6 months, you feel like you can reinvest that quick enough where by the end of 2021 you're doing a $7 million run rate?
Yeah.
Up from about a $1.8 million run rate right now.
It's below that, but yeah.
Okay. Well, 1.5-ish, in that range. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so I mean, the debt financing stuff is interesting, right? What you're referring to as an accounts receivable lender, there's a lot of these folks out there where they essentially will pay you up front for these contracts, but sometimes they can be pretty expensive, right? It's like 20% kind of interest rate effectively if you calculate it. Is that what you've seen?
Yeah, that's exactly what we've seen. We have 85% margin, so in theory, and we've just started exploring this. So I haven't made up my mind as to like how beneficial it could be to the company, but judging with our margins, in theory, it seems to be profitable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really going to come down to when they actually pass an offer, and that's when we're going to be able to say like, hey, look, is this something we can do or not?
Yeah. So what would you spend? Let's say you get the money. What would you spend it on?
So essentially, right now we've been doing everything with a 3-person sales team, which is very limited for an enterprise brand. We want to grow our sales team over the next 3 years to up to 30 people, particularly 20 sales development reps and 10 account executives. We also need a bit more people in our operations, like a COO would be phenomenal just for how fast we're producing our products. And finally, we want more data scientists. A lot of the future of our business hinges upon how personalized and how immediate we can make those experiences. Like when Nathan calls, we want to know Nathan bought something last week. We want to treat you completely uniquely. And there's a big benefit for brands to treat their customers uniquely. They spend more, they retain better. And so a lot of this bet is to hire more data scientists and to hire more salespeople, to start spending more on marketing. So we've been quite lean this last few years. Because we were developing a new product that actually we just finished developing like 3 weeks ago. And yeah, so now that we have that ready, we want to focus. So a bit on product, a lot of sales, and a lot of marketing.
And Pablo, how many engineers do you have right now?
Right now we have 12 engineers, but we have an interesting contract with a research lab in Mexico City, which has an additional 4 PhDs. And the reason it's interesting is because they developed tech for us. We co-authored the patent.
To exploit it liquidly.
Okay. And yeah, we can still hear you fine, but it's not going through your earbuds anymore, which is fine. So total team size today is how many people? 35 people. Okay, so 35 total, 12 engineers, 3 reps are carrying quota?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you put their quota target at annually?
Their quota target for this year was 1.2 million.
Altogether or each?
Altogether.
And why is that the right number?
Excuse me? I couldn't hear you, cut off.
Why is that the right number?
Well, we kind of hit that quota target based on growth metrics we were looking for from last year. We're going to be way more aggressive on the coming year. But again, a lot of the focus for this year, we were way more focused on what's our cost of acquisition. We bought down from $22,000 to $14,000. We were focused on what's the conversion that the sales development representatives were getting from email to qualified lead, and what's the conversion between qualified lead and one customer. And the reason we did that is because the company was doing very good. The product is clearly doing great. We had a high market demand, but over the time we realized our sales team was just kind of like chasing a lot of leads. Not a lot of them were qualified. So we said, like, look, we're raising a growth round next year. Let's focus right now on specific clients where we can have high return on investment for them. And we kind of been structuring over the last 6 months just the economics of that round of the sales team, with the hopes that when we raise money, we can keep our CAC at the same $14,000.
So you're spending $14,000 right now to get a new $10,000 a month account?
Roughly, yeah.
Okay, so your payback there is like 2 months basically. Why not be more aggressive there, especially if you're raising a bunch of capital?
Well, once we have the venture capital, we want to be way more aggressive.
Are you burning capital today?
Yeah, we're burning very little, but like roughly $10,000 a month.
Okay, how much do you have left in the bank? Is that enough runway?
Yeah, we have like $90,000 in the bank, so we have 8 or 9 months. But so essentially, like we're ready to scale. We're about as ready as you can get to scale.
Yep. Churn's critical in a SaaS company. What's your gross revenue churn over the past 12 months?
I mean, again, the only customer we've lost essentially since we last spoke, 3 customers that we kind of intentionally churned because they were paying so little.
What's the number though? So gross revenue churn.
Gross revenue churn. I mean, those 3 customers were paying roughly like $3,000 a month out of like an $80,000. So I mean, yeah, so $3,000 out of $80,000 MRR.
So call it like 4%, 5%.
4 or 5%.
And expansion revenue has been, it sounds like pretty good, right? So is that like, what's expansion revenue on the cohort over the past year?
So we have 125% net revenue retention rate. And yeah, so expansion revenue. So just to give you an idea, a traditional client of ours would start with $3,000 and is paying today like roughly $12,000 over the course of 12 months.
But every customer wouldn't do that, right? I mean, otherwise you would be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So particularly what we did since we last spoke, we had a lot of customers. Of those 35 customers, a lot of them were very small companies. We focused in the last year on just acquiring enterprise brands. And within enterprise brands, we must roughly have today signed like around 13, 14 customers, of which since we last spoke, we maybe had 3 or 4. And those 3 or 4 that we last spoke have grown from essentially paying $1,000 to $3,000 a month to paying 10 to 12.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good stuff. All right, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
I just read Super Forecasters. Forgot the name of the author, but it's phenomenal.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
No, not really.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the company?
HubSpot, which I think that's constant last year.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
8 or 9.
And so what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
Single.
Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Lately, I've been working a lot on focusing more on specific tasks. I've cleared up a lot of my calendar, and that's something I recommend to a lot of people. So every day I have like roughly 3 hours with no meetings, sometimes even more. And if I've been doing that since I was 20, I think the company would have focused more on critical pain points and not just what's coming up on my calendar.
Guys, there you have it. Gus helping 45 customers increase customer retention, increase sales, and save money. Doing call it about $100,000 per month right now on revenue, up from $40,000 a month just a year ago. So healthy growth, called 160, 170% year over year. They've raised about $1.5 million total to date, burning about $10,000 per month, $90,000 of cash left in the bank with a team size of 35 people, 12 engineers, 3 quota carrying reps, 125% net revenue retention, a 2-month payback period. Now targeting a $5 million raise on a $15 million pre-money valuation. Pablo, we're rooting for you, man. Good luck.
Thanks, man. Take care.
You guys know I fight like heck to get these data points for you from these CEOs that rarely do these kinds of shows. If you want more shows like this, make sure you subscribe right now. We're trying to get 10,000 YouTube subscribers by the end of September here, 2019. And it would mean the world to me if you clicked now to subscribe. Additionally, I've got 2 more great interviews for you. If you want more data points from the world's leading SaaS CEOs, click and watch one of them right now.